In today's class, we will be discussing about one more topic which is belonging to the regular languages, which is pumping lemma for regular languages. Pumping lemma for regular languages. Now, before going to discuss about this pumping lemma, how we can use this pumping lemma for regular languages, let us first try to explain one very important topic called pigeonhole principle. Pigeonhole principle. The reason why I am discussing about this pigeonhole principle is, so whatever the pumping lemma theorem is there, this pumping lemma theorem works. It works. So it works based on the principle of it works based on the principle of pigeonhole. Okay, so first we should know what is this pigeonhole principle. Then only it becomes very easy for us to understand the pumping lemma for the regular languages. Okay, now let's take one small example. Let us observe that one simple example. Let us observe that we have we have three pigeons. Please try to understand. We have three pigeons and and two holes. We have three pigeons and two holes. And what is generally what is the problem statement is? What is the problem statement is? The problem statement is like this: we will be having the pigeons and we will be having the holes. Now, what actually we should do is we need to place or we need to accommodate each and every pigeon in each and every hole. Each and every hole. Now, let us observe. For example, let us observe that we have two holes like this. We have two holes, and let us observe that we have two pigeons. For example, let us observe this is a pigeon 1 and this is a second pigeon 2. So pigeon 1 and pigeon 2. Now, as we have two holes available, now in the first hole I can accommodate pigeon 1, and in the second hole I can accommodate pigeon 2. Pigeon 2, or vice versa also. That is, in the first hole either I can accommodate second pigeon, and in the second hole I can accommodate the first pigeon. In the sense, we are not going to have any problem at all for accommodating the pigeons within the holes when the number of holes is equal to the number of pigeons. Okay, so we don't have any problem at all when the number of holes are equivalent to number of pigeons. But the real problem that we are going to face, when we are going to face the real problem, is we have more number of pigeons. We have more number of pigeons and less number of holes. In such cases only we are going to face the problem. So that is what I'm going to explain over here. Now please observe, we have two holes available. Over here. So this is a hole 1. See, this is a hole 1 and hole 2. So this is the first hole and second. So this is H1, first hole, and then we have one more hole which is H2. One more hole H2. Okay. Now we have two holes. Within these two holes, now we need to accommodate three pigeons. Now, how do you accommodate three pigeons in two holes? We have two possibilities. What are the two possibilities? Is, for example, let us observe that in hole 1, H1, so if you accommodate the first pigeon, then inside the second hole, you need to accommodate two pigeons. What are those? Second pigeon and third pigeon. This is the first scenario. This is the first scenario. Now the second scenario is, for example, in the first hole, if you accommodate two pigeons, 1, 2, then in the second hole, you need to accommodate the single pigeon, which is nothing but the third one. In the sense, so why this problem has been arised is, we don't have the enough number of holes which can be capable of accommodating the required number of pigeons. So in such cases, what we have to do is, we need to select some holes where we can accommodate the required number of pigeons. Now here what we are doing is, so if you look into this, as we have only two holes where it is not possible for placing the three pigeons within the two holes. That is the reason what we are doing is, we are going to place more than one pigeon within the single hole. Right. Now the same principle now we are going to use in our pumping lemma also. So how we are going to use that is, let us observe that. Let us observe, I have a string like this. I have some finite string like this. I have a string like this, ABB. ABB. Now what I want to do is, I need to design a finite automata which can accept this string ABB. So how can we do that? That's very simple. So first, this is my initial state, and these are the intermediate states. These are the intermediate states. Okay, and this is my final state. Okay, and this is for A, this is for A, and this is for B, and this is for B. This is for B. Okay, and this is my initial state. This is my initial state. Okay, now here you please try to understand that. So what is the length of the string? What is the length of the string? The length of the string is 3. The length of the string is 3. When the length of the string is 3, so how many number of states we are having now? So state 1, second state, third state, and as well as a fourth state. Fourth state. In the sense, now we are having, in order to design a automata which is of length 3, now we require how many states? We require 4 states. We are going to make use of 4 states. Okay, we are going to make use of 4 states. Now let us observe one more string. Now for example, now I am going to make use of a string called A, B. A, B. Now in order to accept this string, I need to make use of an automata like this. I am going to design my automata like this. So initial state, and then it is responsible for, this transition is for accepting A, and then this transition is for accepting B. Now this is going to be my final state. This is B. Now this finite automata is going to accept the string called AB. Now what is the length of the string now? It is 2. It is 2. But how many number of states we are going to make use of? We are going to make use of 3 states. We are going to make use of 3 states. Okay. Now here very happily we are able to construct the finite automata. The reason for that is, so whether you take ABB, whether you take ABB or whether you take AB, why we are able to design the finite automata very happily, in the sense, in these two scenarios, now my language is the finite language. My language is a finite language. What do you mean by finite language? Finite language is nothing but it is the language where we are going to have finite number of strings. Finite number of strings. Now, the point which I want to conclude over here is when we have a finite language, then obviously we can construct the finite automata. So once we are able to construct the finite automata, then that language is considered like a finite language. Okay, so now let me write that point over here. Have a look at this. If we have a finite language, if we have a finite language, then we can construct a finite automata. Then we can construct finite automata for the given language. We can construct the finite automata for the given language. If we are able to construct finite automata for the given language, then it is regular language. Then it is regular language. Okay, so you have to remember this point. Okay, so blindly we can say that any language which is of a finite or which is consisting of finite number of strings, by default it will be something like a regular language. Now we don't have any problem with the finite language. Now you know one more thing, something like a infinite language. We have one more language called infinite language. What do you mean by infinite language? Infinite language in the sense where we are going to have the set of strings, where the strings are going to be infinite in nature. Now let me write one small example over here. So now let us observe that I have least string like this, ABB, then ABB, then ABB, BB, okay, then ABB, BB, and so on. Okay, now please try to understand, when we have, just now I told you that when we have a finite language, then by default that finite language is a regular language. But what about the infinite language? For example, if you consider this language, this is the infinite language. Now, if I want to tell whether this language is a regular language or not, please pay attention here. If I want to say whether this language is a regular language or not, then we need to construct, or we try to construct the finite automata for accepting this language. Now, if you observe thoroughly over here, now for this finite string ABB, now what we have done, we have constructed the finite automata and with the four states, and where the length of the string is 3. But if you consider the infinite language, you can see here the least string is ABB, which is of length 3. The next string length is 5. The next string length is 7. Then the next length string is 9. The next length string is 11. And I don't know what is the length of the infinite string might be. In such cases, if you go for designing a finite automata, then it is going to become very, very difficult for us. Okay. Now in such cases, whenever you want to construct a finite automata with the enough number of states, in the sense, now you need to look into the strings. Which belongs to that language thoroughly. Please have a look at this. So you need to look into these strings thoroughly. Okay. Now once we have looked into this, Now we need to check, is there any possibility, is there any possibility of, is there any possibility of, so accommodating something like this, what I said, something like pigeonhole principle, where we are going to have very less number of holes and we will be having more number of pigeons. And what are the holes here? The states are nothing but holes and the pigeons are nothing but, these are the input symbols. Now what we need to do is, we need to construct a finite automata which is capable of accepting the or handling the infinite length strings also, infinite length strings also. Now how do we do that? How do we do that? So in order to do that, now what actually we can do here is, now without using the looping, it is highly impossible for us to design a finite automata. That is the reason why now what I am doing, I am going to make use of a loop from here, from 4 to 2, from 4 to 2 I am going to specify some epsilon transition. Now if you observe thoroughly, now the least string which this finite automata will accept will be, which it is going to accept will be ABB. ABB. Now this ABB will be accepted. Now then check the second one, A double B double B, whether it is going to accept or not. First A, then B, then B. Yes, it is accepting. Then again what it has to accept? Double B. So go to epsilon transition again back, then again B, again B. Means now what happened over here? A double B is also accepted. In the same manner, if you check A double B double B double B, A double B B epsilon B B epsilon B B. In the sense, what happened over here? Now, just because of introducing this this looping part, now we are able to so design a finite automata which is capable of recognizing the infinite language also. Okay, so here I want to give two conclusions for you. The first conclusion is, whenever you are having a finite language, that finite language is a regular language. It is a regular language. But the only problem or the only point of concern for us is when we don't have a finite language, when we have a infinite language. So when we have a infinite language, when we have a infinite language, in such cases, so what is going to happen is, so we need to try to construct a finite automata for this. Okay, so once we are able to construct the finite automata, then we can say that 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 infinite language is also a regular language. Okay, so now what we have to do, whenever we have been given with some infinite language, we try to design a finite automata, or we try to design the regular expression. We try to design the regular expression. Whether we try to design a finite automata or regular expression, whatever it may be, then we can automatically prove that that language is a regular language. Okay, so this is one simple example where we are going to make use of this looping part. We can also call technically, we can also call this part, we can also call this part like a pumping part also. Why I am calling it like a pumping part? Because if we have this AA, then if you keep on repeating this, if you keep on pumping this, then it is going to generate this BB. If you pump for one time or twice, it is going to generate double B two times. If you pump this BB for 3 times, it is going to generate double B. Okay, that is the reason we also call it like a pumping part. Okay, now let's go over here. Now let us observe one more example over here. One more example. This is our one more example. Okay, now we have taken something like AB. Now I want to accept the language, something like ABB, then ABB triple B, then A 4Bs, and so on and so on. Now I want to check whether this language is a regular language or not. Now, if I want to check whether this language is a regular language or not, for that again, what I have to do first, I need to try to construct the finite automata. We need to construct the finite automata, or we need to construct the regular expression. We try to construct the regular expression also. If you are able to construct either the finite automata or either the regular expression, then automatically we can say that that language is a regular language. That language is a regular language. Okay. Now you can see here already we have a automata drawn for accepting the string called AB. Now what we have to do now? We need to make this to accept ABB also. Now it has accepted AB. Now here, now what I am doing, I am going to specify some epsilon transition like this. Epsilon transition. Now please check. Now it is going to accept AB. It is going to accept AB, then AB epsilon B. In the sense, it is going to accept ABB, ABB, then it is also going to accept A triple B, A4Bs, and so on and so on. Okay, means this language is also a regular language. This language is also called the regular language. And this part is called the pumping part. It is called the pumping part. Okay. Now, if you observe thoroughly, the basic idea what I am going to use is now whether you take this language or whether you take this language, now what I am trying to do is I am searching for some pattern. I am searching for some looping pattern. What is that pattern over here? You can see here we have A double B, then we have A double B followed by double B twice, and you once you can then you have A double B followed by double B twice, then A double B followed by double B thrice. In the sense, so we have a string called A double B which has been available, and this A double B has been followed by double B for one time, two times, three times, right? Now the same thing, now when I write in the form of a regular expression, you can easily understand. I can write the regular expression like this. So this is the least string which my language has to accept. Then it can be written like this: A double B of double B whole star. In the sense, what is the pattern we are able to identify here? This is the pattern. This is the common pattern we are able to identify. Okay. Now using that pattern, if you are able to design the finite automata, in the sense, now we say that that language is the regular language. Okay. Now in the same manner, if we go over here for this example, now if you try to construct the regular expression for this, what is the least string we have? AB. The least string is AB. Then we have B star. B star. Okay. In the sense, 0 occurrences, 1 occurrence, 2 occurrence, 3 occurrences, and you have any number of occurrences. Now we are able to write the regular expression. Okay. Means now we have a pattern. We have pattern. See, in this case, we have a pattern where the pattern has been repeated with the B. But here in this case, we have a pattern which has been associated with the double B. Okay. Now, the thing which I want to tell you over here is when we are having a infinite languages, so in such cases, so depending on the length of the infinite string, if you want to accept the length of the infinite string, which is of length n, you can't go for designing a finite automata which can have a n plus 1 number of states. In such scenarios, what you have to do is you need to go for making use of so the patterns, so where those patterns can be easily specified within your transition diagram in the form of a loop. Okay, now this is what actually we call the pumping lemma is. Okay, so now we have a pumping part over here. You can see here we have a pumping part, which is nothing but the pattern which is going to generate the strings over here. So this pumping part only is going to generate. So this pumping part only is going to generate BB for one time, BB for two times, BB for three times, four times, five times, any number of times. Now that is the reason why we call it like a pumping part. Okay, so this is some brief introduction related to the pumping lemma. Now let us enter into the details of pumping lemma. Why actually we are going to make use of the pumping lemma theorem is. Now before going to enter into the details, I want to clear you one thing, that so pumping lemma is used. Pumping lemma is used to prove that is used to prove that some language some language is not regular. Some language is not regular in the sense, so when you apply, please listen carefully, when you apply this pumping lemma, then on certain language, automatically this theorem will prove that the language is not a regular language. Okay, means now we are going to perform a test called a negative test. So here what we are doing is, so using the pumping lemma theorem, now we are going to perform the negative test. In the sense, so but if you take any language, okay, whether it is a regular language or not a regular language, whatever the language you take, if you are using the pumping lemma in the sense, definitely this pumping lemma is going to prove that the language is not regular only. So that is the reason why whenever you have been asked, given with some language and asked to prove whether asked to check whether the given language is a regular language or not, so don't blindly apply the pumping lemma theorem. If you apply the pumping lemma theorem, what is going to happen is, even though the language is a regular language, but still it will prove that the language is not a regular language. That is the reason why we should not blindly follow this pumping lemma theorem. Okay, now let's go and we try to discuss about the pumping lemma theorem. Okay, so let me show the theorem over here. This is what our theorem is. Okay, so have a look at this. So we have a theorem like this. So what the theorem says that let L be a regular language. We have a regular language by name L. Then there exists a constant n such that for every string w in L, for every string w in L, such that the length of w should be greater than or equal to n. Whatever the value we have over here, it should be greater than or equal to n. In such cases, we can break our string into three parts. What are the three parts? So x, y, and z, such that subject to the following constraints. What are the constraints? See here, what we are trying to do is, we are trying to select some string w which belongs to the language L, and after selecting the string w, what we have to do is, we need to break that string. We need to break this string xyz into three parts. So what are the three parts? The first part is the length of y should not be equivalent to 0. Should not be equivalent to 0. That is, the length of y should be always greater than 0. So this is what we call, this is the pumping part of our regular language. That is the reason why, so this part should not be equivalent to 0. Then the length of x and y should be always less than or equal to n. Then the last one is, for all k greater than or equal to 0, we need to make sure that when we pump it for some 0 number of times, 1 time, 2 time, or 3 times, we need to make sure that whatever the language which we are going to generate by applying this pumping part, so that newly generated string should also be available within the language L. If it happens, then we can say that so our language is a regular language. If these conditions are not satisfied, if these conditions are not satisfied in the sense, then we are going to say that the given language is not the regular language. Given language is not the regular language. Now let us, I hope you are not able to understand the theorem part over here. Now let me discuss with some simple example. Now here we need to check whether the given language is a regular or not. So please observe, we are having something like a power n such that n is greater than or equal to 1. When we substitute n is equal to 1, the least string which we are able to generate is a small a, then double a, triple a, 4a's, 5a's, and so on, and so on. Now what type of language it is? It is a infinite language. It is a infinite language. Can we construct the finite automata for this? Is it possible for us to construct the finite automata for this? Yes or no? Yes, we can construct the finite automata. So that is the reason why the given language is a regular language. Now in order to make you very clear for you, here I am going to write the regular expression for this a star. As I am able to write the regular expression accepting or generating this language, now I can say that this language is a regular language. Then the next one, second. Now here what we have, n comma m is greater than or equal to 1. In the sense, we can have any number of a's and we can have any number of b's. So we don't have any condition on something like n must be of 5, m must be of 5 only. Okay, so you can have any number of a's, any number of a's followed by any number of b's, any number of b's. This is what this language says. Now this language is also a regular language. So how this language is also a regular language? I can write the regular expression for this. How? So this is like this, any number of a's followed by any number of b's, like this. Okay, you can see here we have any number of a's followed by any number of b's. Okay, the least string which it will generate when we take n comma m is equivalent to 1. What is the least string it will generate? AB. Now you can see here, so AB. Now it is generating AB. That is the reason why now this language is also a regular language. Then go for the third one. Third one. Now please observe. So what type of language it is? A power n such that n is less than or equal to 100. N is less than or equal to 100. In the sense, so initially you have A, then you have AA, and you have triple A, and your A will be repeated for 99 times. A will be repeated for 99 times. Now can you tell me whether this language is a finite language or infinite language? This language is a finite language or infinite language? This language is a finite language. How I am saying finite? Because when you have a condition like greater than or equal to 1, where your n value can be greater than 1, that greater than 1 value can be anything. In the sense, so it is a infinite language. But whereas when you consider this n is less than or equal to 100, in the sense, now our n value will be less than 100 only. It will be less than 100 only. So if you consider n as equivalent to 0, n as equivalent to 0, then the least string which it is going to accept will be epsilon. Least string which it is going to accept will be epsilon. Okay, and it will be repeated for 100 times. Now we will be having strings. A maximum string length will be of length 100. Now as we have a finite length string, now my language will be a finite language. I already told you that when my language is a finite language, then it will be by default, it will be a regular language. Regular language. Okay. Now when we go for the fourth one, now what this language is saying, it is saying that we need to have a power n, p power n such that n is greater than or equal to 1. Now substitute n is equal to 1, we get AB. When you substitute n equal to 2, we will get AA, BB. When you substitute n equal to 3, we will get triple A, triple B. In the same manner, 4 A's, 4 B's, 4 A's, 4 B's, and so on, and so on. Now it is an infinite language, and this is a infinite language, and I don't know whether this language is a regular language or not. Now, in order to prove that whether my language is a regular language or not, now please observe, as here we are following some pattern. What is the pattern? We have single A, single B, and we have a double A, double B, and we have triple A, triple B, 4 A's, 4 B's. Now, what this language is having here? This language says that we have equal number of A's followed by equal number of B's. Now, this language is not a regular language. Why this language is not a regular language? In the sense, the reason for that is because our finite automata is not having the capability of remembering how many A's it has read so far. How many A's it has read so far. Because here when I want to generate a finite automata for this, I need to remember how many number of A's I have read so far, and then I need to compare it with the number of B's which I am going to read next. Okay, now these two has to match. Now if I want to do this comparison, so it is not possible for me to do the same using the finite automata. So that is the reason why we say that this language is not a regular language. Okay, or we can do one thing over here. So this can be proved. This can be proved using the pumping lemma also. Now let us take one small example. Now I am going to prove it using the pumping lemma. Okay. So now what is my language is? My language is like this. My language is like this. AB, 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 equal number of A's followed by equal number of B's. Triple A, triple B, 4 A's, 4 B's. If you want to take, you can take 5 A's, 5 B's also, and so on, and so on. Now, what we have so far? We have a regular language L. Yes, we got a language L. From this language, what we need to do? We need to select some string W. Please do that. What we have to do? We need to select some string which is called W. We need to take some string called W. Okay, where the length of the string should be greater than or equal to n. Greater than or equal to n. Now what I am doing? I am taking some string W. W is equal to, so triple A, triple B. Triple A and triple B means now I am taking some string. So whether this string belongs to L or not, yes, that is the reason why I am taking some string called triple A, triple B. Okay. Now, how I am able to get this string triple A, triple B? So this triple A, triple B, we are able to get just because when n value is equal to 3, because this can be written something like a cube. This can be written a cube followed by a cube followed by b cube. A cube followed by b cube. Now when this is, we are getting a cube followed by b cube, in the sense, what about our n value? Our n value is equivalent to 3. Now what this condition says? The condition says that the length of the string should be greater than or equal to n. Now what is the W length? What is the length of the W? Please check. What is the length of the W? The length of W is equivalent to 6. What is the length of W? The length of W is 6. What is the n value? The n value is 3. Now, what is the condition we are checking? The condition that we are going to check is length of W should be greater than or equivalent to n. Now 6 greater than or equivalent to 3. Now the condition is true. The condition is true. Now when the condition is true, now what we can do? We can go for selecting this string. Okay. Now we can select this string. So once this string has been selected, now what we have to do now? We need to divide this string into 3 parts, x and y and z, such that so these conditions has to be followed. These conditions has to be followed. So now please divide your string w into 3 parts. So let us take w is equal to triple A triple B. Now you can take x, y and z in any manner. X, y and z in any manner. But you should not forget that. So y part should not be equivalent to 0. Now how I am dividing is, now I am dividing into 3 different ways. So now I am taking this one AA as x and AB as y, AB as y and BB as a z. You can take in any manner. I am taking x as AA and y as AB and z as BB. This is how I have divided. Now once we did the division, now we need to check the conditions. What are the first condition? The first condition is length of y should be greater than 0, should be greater than 0. That is what is y now? What is y now? Y is AB. Y is AB. When we take y is AB greater than 0, so what it will be now? What it is now? 2 is greater than 0. Means the condition is true. The condition is true. Means now we don't have any problem with the y. Then what is the second one? What is the second rule? The second rule says that the length of x and y should be less than or equal to n. The length of x and y should be less than or equal to n. What is x we have taken? The length of xy, the length of xy should be less than or equal to n. Sorry, should be less than or equal to n. Okay. Now what this x and y is, what is the x value is? We have taken x something like AA, y as a AB, and here we are taking less than or equal to 3. Now if you observe the result, what is the result we get? 4 is less than or equal to 3. Is the condition is true? No, false. As the condition is false, now what we have to do now? Now we need to change the settings. We need to change the settings. Now how I am going to do here is, now let us observe. Now I am going to take this x as a small a, only a. I am going to take x as a small a. You can observe. I am going to take x as a small a, and y as a ab, y as a ab or aa. I am going to take aa, y as a aa, and I am going to take z as a triple b. Why I am doing all these changes? Because our second condition has not been satisfied. Now I am taking z as a triple b. Now when you do that, what is this? Our y will be AA. So 2 is greater than 0. Condition is true. Then we take xy is less than or equal to n. What is our x now? Small a. And what is our y now? Double a. So now here the condition is 3 greater than or equal to 3. Now as 3 is greater than or equal to 3, the condition is true. Now we don't have any problem with the second condition also. Then the third condition is we need to do this x y power k z. X y power k z. We need to do this x power y for x y power k z for all k is greater than or equivalent to 0. Okay, now we know what is x value. What is x? Already we know a. And what is y? Y is a. Y is a. Z is a triple b. Z is triple b. Now, if we substitute, please substitute k as a 0. When we substitute k as a 0, we will get a power a power 0 triple b. And what is the answer we are going to get? A into anything power 0 will be epsilon. Anything power 0 will be epsilon. Epsilon into triple b. And what is the answer we will get now? We will get a triple b. Now we are going to get a new string after repeating this pumping part for 0 times. Now what we have to check is, now whatever the new string has been generated, a triple b, this is the new string has been generated, a triple b, whether this string is available in our language or not. So this is our language. This is our language. Within this language, now we need to check whether this string, newly generated string, a triple b is available or not. Just have a look at this, whether it is available within our given language. No. Why it is not available inside our language? Our language says that we should have equal number of a's followed by equal number of b's. But what is happening here? We have one a followed by 3 b's. So strictly we can say that, so this is going to be, this does not, this is going to be something like a string which which does not belong to L, belong to L. So hence out of three conditions, the first condition has been satisfied, the second condition has also been satisfied, but what happened to third condition? The third condition has been got failed. So as the third condition got failed, now we can say that hence the given language, hence the given language is not regular. The given language is not regular. Okay, so this is how using the pumping lemma theorem, we are going to prove that certain language is not regular. Okay, so again I want to tell you the same point, right? Whenever you apply the pumping lemma on any language, whether it is a regular language or not, by default what it will prove that the language is not a regular only. Okay, so that is the reason why I have not applied the pumping lemma for these languages. Why I have not applied? The reason for this is, so all these are regular languages. When I apply the pumping lemma for these languages, by default it will prove that, so it is not like a regular language. Okay, now here what I did, I have divided x like a small a, y like a double a, z like a triple b. You can divide this string w in terms of x, y, z in any form, x, y, z in any form. So something like, if you want to take, you can take in any format. Something like, if I can take x as a double a, so I will write other combination also here. I can take x like double a, and y like small a, and z like triple b. I can write like this also. This combination is also possible, but you need to make sure that the y value, the length of y should not be equivalent to 0, and the length of x and y should not be greater than the value of a pumping part or the n part. Okay, so like that what you can do, you can divide your string w in terms of x1, y and z in any manner. Okay, so that's it for today's class. In tomorrow's class, what we'll do, we'll take other examples also. Here we have other examples also. We'll try to work out on the other exercises, and we'll try to prove whether the given languages are regular or not using the pumping lemma theorem. Okay, thank you very much.